Hello, hello, hello! My name is Robin Corsidu. My pronouns are she, he, they, used interchangeably. I'm a Virgo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising. This little human dog, this little not human, this dog is Schmoozer, and Schmoozer's going to be helping me co-host today and just really vibing to your poetry all the way here. Hello, welcome to the Maza Showcase of Voices of Today, day 4. If you don't know me, I do a lot of air horns all the time because I love to hype myself up. All right, so before we get started, here at Voices of Today, we always want to acknowledge the land that we're on. And I know it's a little strange doing that when we're all online and in different places in the world, but traditionally, Voices of Today has taken place in what's colonially known as Toronto, traditionally the Huron-Wendat, Petchoun, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe territories, as well as treaty territory, specifically the District 1 Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe, and the Toronto Purchase Treaty 13. As we move online, Voices of Today looks to amplify the voices of the original caretakers of the land across the globe. It's our goal to honor and offer education to everyone on over 10,000 years of Indigenous culture and history that exists worldwide. We recognize the majority of our current organizers live across Turtle Island, which is the Lenni, Lenape, and Iroquois people traditionally have called North America. As a festival, we acknowledge that reconciliation takes ongoing efforts from non-Indigenous peoples. We ask all non-Indigenous attendees to continuously learn about the history of the land and its people, from where they live and occupy, as well as treat the land with respect the best way they know how to. So I'm currently in Hamilton, Ontario. It's traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe peoples, and I want to highly, highly encourage you to Google nearby Indigenous initiatives that you could help donate your time, your money, and your resources to. I know COVID is happening and a lot of us feel like the world is on fire, but the world can be a little less fire if we help those in our community and use our privilege to help each other out, especially in these wild, wild times that are affecting Indigenous people and other people of color a lot more than it's affecting a lot of other folk. So Google your local shelter, your local Native organization, and figure out how you can help. Yeah, awesome. So this is a wonderful gay space. Hello, if you didn't know that, welcome to Voices of Today. It's gay. Hello, what can I say? And so the gays hate speech. I don't like hate speech. Hate speech will not be tolerated today. I'm sensitive. I will cry. I will cry all over you virtually if anybody mentions hate speech. That's not tolerated here. In case you're watching this on our wonderful YouTube live stream and you're like, hey, this is great, but you know what I'm missing? Some virtual communication with other folks watching this. Well, have no worries. There is a wonderful, wonderful Discord chat where you can hop on in there and talk to everybody else in this rowdy audience. And I said rowdy because it's not a poetry audience unless y'all have feelings and y'all have feelings publicly. So in the chat, I want to hear how you're feeling. What's your night been or morning been, depending on where you are in the world, and how excited you are to hear some poetry. And then during all the wonderful, wonderful feature sets we have today, I want to hear how you're feeling about them. I want you to share so much love, so much tenderness. Love it when it's soft. Some of the poems that you're going to be hearing tonight might be about sensitive topics, and I want you to prioritize yourself and your well-being. If you hear something that is triggering, harmful, please feel free to, put me on pause, turn off your volume, take a step, do what you gotta do, come back if you want, don't come back if you want. That's totally okay. It's the most important thing here is how you're feeling and how you're doing. So please take care of yourself. If you do want somebody to talk to, we have active listeners who are in the Discord chat. Today's active listeners are Q and Kit, and they've identified themselves in the chat, and they're wonderful, wonderful humans who are here to hear from you if you want to talk to anybody. We also have an access person tonight who is Zane. So if you need any help accessing anything, reach out to them and they'll get you right on the way there. Also, we have another wonderful human who is working with us all throughout festival. Their name is Rabbit Richards, and they're around the entire week. If anybody feels unsafe at any point, in any time, for any reason, you can message Rabbit on Discord and then move off of Discord if texting makes you feel more comfortable. They're here to be a resource, and they're here to listen to you, and they're here to be a wonderful person because we got each other in this space, right? We're tender. We're community. Did I say tender already? Good. Also, this is a pay what you can event. So, in case you still want to buy a ticket to this event and donate some money to a wonderful organization, feel free to. Half of the money collected today is going to an organization called Black Trans Femmes in the Arts, and they're a wonderful, wonderful group. Let me tell you about them. BTFA Collective is a fiscally sponsored project of Arts Business Collaborative, which allows them to utilize our tax exempt status when applying for funding and accepting donations. Fiscal sponsorship is a common practice where nonprofit organizations offer their legal and tax exempt. That's not what their bio is, but you know what? That's what I'm getting. Hold on. Let me find something that's more about what they do. It'd be like that. It'd be like that. You click on a website, you think you got the right thing about the website, and then it's not the right thing about the website, and it be like that. I will come back to what our wonderful, wonderful organization does later on in the show. But essentially, all throughout festival, we are donating at least 50% of all of our ticket sales to Black organizations across Turtle Island, because we wanna support them. We want to support people as much as we can. And so, if at any point you want to buy tickets, that would be great. Here we go. I've got a little blurb about them. Black Trans Femme in the Arts, or BTFA, is a collective of Black trans women and non-binary femmes who are dedicated to creating space for Black trans femmes in the arts. Our collective includes artists from all sectors of the arts educators, art administrators, art activists, and art curators. We organize performances and galleries that showcase the talent of Black trans femmes, host workshops and talks that provide Black trans femmes with the knowledge and skills to advance their artistry. Look, amazing. Why would you not want to give money to them if you're able to? If you aren't able to, that's totally cool. Okay, that's chill. We don't want to make people give away their money, but awesome. So, we are gonna get started with our show. We have 4 wonderful feature artists today. We have Franz, Icy Gaze, Kieran the Muse, and Namitha. But before we get started, we have one phenomenal open micer. So give it up for your open micer, Hector.
Now, in this sitting moment, I'm dancing through hallways of the house in my mind, looking for fluid darkness already flowing inside my own cathedrals. My body is not a temple, it is something much more divine, a breathing organism. Divinity my cells hold amount more than my own soul. Do they? Where is the line drawn between who will become more God than what is incomparable, but waves reflecting moonlight remind me I've learned enough tonight from moments that do not shine. Beauty is really just pain, re-alphabetized into an etymology of gold over fractures, broken into a ghost of the word perfect. And the same could be said for the house inside my brain. I've learned to architecture from dripping dark, seething out my pores. The moon taught us all. She always has been a reminder, her radiance, phasing magnificence, just like my every wake and wane window pain, and how anything can become it. Pain, the one thing that will destroy so mercilessly, it will amnesia your restful, make you forget you can phoenix the atom bomb in your heart, because all I can ever do sometimes is wait the moment I will run. 3, 2, 1, and go as the strings fire, they ice their way in disguise to pass through, and Trojan horse the strings woven vertically so tightly across my face, they are unlearning unnecessary tension when all else seems to threaten. I can break through, I know I can. I just need a breaking so graceful you would think I had planned how I would be reborn, cycle once more, unwind me. I know the mirror can. He has my same hands to slowly peel back my skin, the same pen as well, the same feet to get back up onto. I take myself apart like no lover dreamed they could, undo myself so carefully. Pieces could be resealed in a single origami precise sleight of hand, like I was telling myself to stay put this entire time in my stagnant wholeness, one of the boldest self surgeries you have ever fucking seen. I can love myself back into radiance, back into ease of internal flow, back into remembering my otherness, to become a shred of divine, and worship is called back into the prayer this way. as if there were not any divinity before, but I remember all the music after the Amen, all the harmony before Amen Ra lost its sun. The sun shone before we ever fucking named it. No thing, no where, no name could ever confine or define me. No ocean could ever not remind and undo. You remember what birthed first? She, Earth, she is a home from explosions. Universe says, when will we learn to silence humanity's own eruptive detonations of external and internal war? I'm still outpouring all the explosion in myself. I'm still sitting, dancing in that internal house, my cathedral body phoenixed into moonlit loose string. I observe this new lunar self alchemy, this new potential mosaic quilt of my every internal resynthesis in silence. How to knit myself and the world back together at the same time.
Wow, holy helicopter. Give it up for Hector in the chat. That was phenomenal. I was literally like, yes, tell me more. Keep telling me this poem. You are a wonderful human being with a wonderful poem. Let's see how y'all feel about it. Hector, several exclamation marks. Wow, 4, even more poetry than usual. This poet is rad. Y'all know I'm here for the religious metaphor. Go in, poet. Goosebumps. I can love myself back into radiance. Stop. My heart. Who gave you permission? Who gave you the right to come here and take my heart gently like this? Wow, so many snaps. Holy helicopter. Yes, I'm adorable. I know. Snaps. Wow, that was your open micer for today. We'd love to hear it. We love to hear it. And we're going to get into some wonderful, wonderful features. First of all, though, somebody said this bout fit. Yes, thank you. I decided not to look like a gremlin today for the first time in weeks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm accepting my Not Gremlin award today, right now. But enough about me being a gremlin. Let's give it up for our first fucking fantastic artist, Franz the poet. Franz is foremost a writer, performer, and arts community activist. She's a settler creating on the unceded traditional lands of the Kwantlen, Katsi, Tsawwassen, Coquitlam, Stolo, Musqueam, Simahu, Tsawwassen, and Kaiket people, colonially known as Surrey North Delta, BC, and is semesters away from receiving her BA in creative writing from Kwantlen Polytechnic University. All the work she does is with the aim to bring people together, to foster safe spaces where communities can thrive and where art can heal and sprout growth. Franz organizes poetry events and writing workshops through Kwantlen Poetry Project, as well as with Melanin and KPU's BIPOC Writers Collective, where she's president and co-founder. She facilitates workshops on writing, performance, and is a trained yoga instructor. She hopes to one day combine elements of all three to teach self-awareness and discovery. She wants shamelessly to take up space as a South Asian female creator. She wants to help other marginalized voices to feel comfortable doing the same. Give it up for your phenomenal poet, Franz!
Hello, Voices of Today, and welcome to my virtual set. My name is Franz, and I am joining you from these unceded territories of the Musqueam, Kwantlen, Coquitlam, Katzie, Tsawwassen, Stolo, and Kaikwet people, colonially known as North Delta, Surrey, BC, British Columbia. I hate this. I hate video submission sets. I feel so awkward speaking to my phone coming from my bedroom. So we're just gonna get to some poems so I can, maybe shake a little bit of that off. But I am so glad that this festival is still going. I am so glad for this chance to still be able to share this virtual stage with so many, so many, so many lovely poets that just are so amazing. I'm honored to be among them. So let's get to the poetry. This first one is called Without the Silver Spoon. If my mother never left her mother, I couldn't wear short skirts in the summer. My mom says man's hands crept bums on crowded trains, sweat in the Bombay sun. My mom says sometimes there'll be moments where I won't be able to speak my mind. I tell her that's crap. There have been days I strut in public almost nude. Halloween and music festivals, my excuse to show the world I'm not a prude. I excuse my mans from high school for manhandling me in hallways. My parents think I'm rude because I refuse to lie about my opinion. A teacher from high school said the same because my shirt was never tucked in. I had to collect bags of garbage during my lunch break. Somewhere out there, another version of myself is getting hit with sticks in the Mumbai sun by a Catholic school nun. I am told to write lines over and over. I will obey, I will obey. Obey, says my sweater, and my dad makes a joke about the fourth commandment. I demand his silence. No version of me is able to hold my tongue. I went away with these daddy issues. He issues childish just to show me he loves me. My mom misuses a vow to replace love. The word annoying slips past my teeth, sharp pins in my mother's heart. They say I'm grumpy. I never smile on family vacations. How can I reconcile the parts of him in me she hates? I am the Fran's energy to her distaste. I will break my mother's heart 1,000 times over. I'm inked. So this next one is called Suppressed, and you will come to notice that I kind of have a little theme going on. I write a lot about my experience growing up in Catholic school. I have this chapbook over here that's for sale still. You can follow me on Instagram, Franz, FRANZ underscore poet, and DM me if you want a copy of this. Some of the poems I'm doing today are in here. But yeah, so here's another one about Catholic school, and it's called Suppressed. Boys aren't being nice when they let you walk first upstairs. It's only to see under your skirts, said my grade 8 religion class teacher as she sat legs crossed on a desk in front of the class, her own preaching between verses of the Old Testament. Rows of girls learn to knit. Our kilts can be over 3 inches above the knee, measured by a ruler when kneeling. Always trying to rule our bodies, forced to watch the silent scream. Believed they told me sex a sin. I ate the bread, went back for more, just wanted to connect. I just wanted to hold beads of my mother's rosary like they fit in my palms, sing psalms like my voice in tune grew, attuned to their guise. What are lies when you believe them, mother? A hug here may mean nothing. We don't make each other proud. Disconnected when you snoop saw sexuality on my phone. I lead boys to bedrooms not to be nice. Let them see under my skirt. I eat body, come back for more. Scream in the silence. Rows of stitches, knit blanket from his mother. 3 times 3 inches. I kneel. Thank you. This next one, if I can find it, this is called Bear. Cross-legged on a Catholic classroom carpet, my tunic doesn't hide whole thighs. In springtime, socks knee-high. I was 8 or 9 when I begged my mom to let me take razor blades to smooth my legs. She said, Waxing is the better way, said the hair eventually won't grow as thick. I screamed the first time she spread the melted honey, a wooden stick across my legs. Sticky, not sweet. Promises of beauty, of boys, not teasing with names. They won't point at the black grass that's pressed. They won't point at the black grass that sprouts beside scabs on knees. Tears in my eye, my garden goodbye. Root follicles cling to white strips. When I turn 17, I scream as fingertips explore my foliage under the gray and red striped kilt. A razor blade convert to save time. I tame my bush. You should shave all the way, he says in a text. That's water. I hope everyone's doing okay in this weird time. I hope we're all drinking water, staying hydrated, taking care of ourselves, doing what we gotta do. This next one is called, well, I guess the title's part of it. It goes like this. Okay, rain is a pain my brain can't sustain, the serotonin to be okay with waking up. Each morning I wake up with a pain between my shoulder blade and rib cage. I've learned to be okay. High functioning, I function high, and I don't know if I'm okay with it. I've learned to be okay with the way my pain bleeds into poetry. Can we write verses meaningful without ripping our hearts open? Show the world our insides. I'm tired of bleeding on the page. Can we use these words, threads, to stitch back whole, back together? My dreams are past the sky. I'm not okay with 9 to 5. I'm not okay with windswept umbrellas being the closest version of flight. I'm not okay with listening as trees fall, as wishes fall, when we're all around to hear it. The windshield wipers are on high. I want to dive into puddles, create waves. This is called Color TV. When I dream, it's usually of white people, which is to say my mind replicates what I see on screens. I watch too much Netflix. Bend It Like Beckham is a movie about a female soccer player, except it's set in the UK. They call it football. The main girl's skin is brown. At 6, I tried to relate to her. Watch the movie over. I was told I was supposed to relate to her. Jess's family is Sikh. My family is Catholic. I've never worn a sari. My mother told me get a degree before a boyfriend. She can't make handmade roti, can't pass that skill to me. At 6, dreamt it easier to be a Keira Knightley at 6. Couldn't recall my likeness from memory. A poet told me she won't let white boys colonize her pussy. Most nights my pussy feels commonwealth. It's common to lose the wealth of the self. Don't stare at images in magazines. It's common for boys on Tinder to call brown skin exotic. I get sick, stick up. They insist it a compliment. I drop the ball so much it's hard to keep score. I ball so much to keep score of brown girls on screens that feel like me. Where is my representation on TV? This next one is called Kiss Me, We're Alone. On rainy days, indoor recess, a boy chases a girl around classroom chairs. Her tunic flashes blue, gym shorts leapfrogging over desks, the class watches and laughs, chanting, kiss her, kiss her, kiss her. She tries not to cry. In kindergarten playhouse, plastic food, make believe molded by a plastic cookie cutter lifestyle. I'm in denial as I walk into his apartment. On rainy days, we do the drugs indoors. Skip movies for music in the static silence between tracks. My head chants, kiss her, kiss her, kiss her. Settle for sure. Touch that part of me instead. Preteen books made me believe worth is another's want of you. I just want him or someone to chase me around laundry filled couches. Got a couple more. Gotta pick my last one off the floor. Need to drop that. Got this little short one, and then trying to leave on a bit of a happy note, maybe. If my parents weren't immigrants, I'd only know monsoons. Most days, the sun would bake my face as shores, lick my toes in the sand. Drunk of cashew fenny, the smell of fish fried my palate, pungent, seasoned with cashmere chilies, cumin seeds, turmeric powder, ginger, garlic, and though I'd be used to the spice, I'd probably still want to be the complexion of rice. One more poem for you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to the rest of the poets for sharing the stage. Thank you to our lovely host, Robin, for curating this whole thing, to the lovely organizers of Voices of Today. Thank you for having me. Maybe one day I will be gathered with you in person when that finally gets to be once more. But till then, I will leave you with this. It's called No More Pipe Dreams. Dear sister, do not hang your dreams on pipes. In the winter when the water freezes, they too with it. The flow will slow and halt, shrivel and decay. The summer will find a burn now too hot. Metal, steam, clouding, can't see past the fog, past the smog, the lies you tell yourself of being. Let your dreams be sticky, sweet sap. Unbark, cling to life, grow, transform into a leaf. Detach from the branches of what should be blown breezy. The wind will take you sky high to the clouds, where you need to be. Follow cycles of natural morphing, your energy feeding the next project complete. Thanks.
Oh my god, give it up for Franz. Give it up for Franz in the Discord down below. We just posted the link to Franz's Instagram if you want to go check them out and buy a chapbook. You just heard some phenomenal poems. The book's gotta be phenomenal poems too, so give Franz a follow. I'm gonna see what's up in the chat. We've got some wonderful, lovely messages. Snaps, woo, I love this poet. Wow, wow, wow. The rhythm, heart emoji. A chapbook. I know, a chapbook. You can't afford not to buy it. Oof, I feel this. Love, love. Faucet emoji with a little glass full of water. The way my pen gleams into poetry, such imagery. What an amazing set. Thank you so much to that human who I adore. And we're gonna keep it going. If you want to hop into the chat, the Discord link is right below. We've got some awesome messages, and I can read out your tender, wholesome messages right here, and it'll be great. Once again, this showcase is called the Maza Showcase. So in case you let me rewind that back. In case you don't know what Maza is. It's a collective of South Asian poets and writers. I'm a part of it. France is a part of it. Every artist joining the stage today is a part of it. There are a couple wonderful humans who've been doing workshops throughout the festival who are a part of it as well, such as Hugh, Sandra Myers, Nisha Patel, and they're just so wonderful. And you should definitely um, love these humans because I love these humans, and Maza is a great collective time. But yeah, we're gonna move on to our next wonderful performer, who is Icy Gaze. Icy Gaze uses poetry to befriend her own soul and hopefully play with yours. Born in Indonesia and based on Turtle Island, she's been cultivating her poetic dexterity for over 10 years, eventually finding an outlet through the spoken word medium on the UBC and Vancouver Poetry Slam stages. Inspired by the literary tradition and her South Asian roots, Icy's poetry is a journey of overcoming shame, guilt, and grief by shattering illusions, showing up in the present as authentically as possible, and becoming love. Give it up for your poet, Icy Gaze.
Thank you so much, Robin. Oh my God, I've had a fondness for you ever since you adopted me at CFSW last year. Robin just straight up went like, all of you from the UBC team, I'm adopting you. I'm your parent now. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm joining you from Indonesia. It is 8:32 a.m. here. And I'm just so happy to be joining all of these poets today. I love them very much. Their work is so inspirational. I'm so grateful to be sharing the stage with y'all. And I just personally want to say hello to everyone in the Discord chat: Billy, Chuck, Kay, Ocean, Zane, Dacia, Loudmouth Poetry Jam, Q, Bittersweet Pixie, Cat China, Mystery, Nora, and SX, and my lovely mentor, Tawahan. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to do a set today for y'all about my healing journey. It's like a lot of pain and whoop, a lot of love. So I'm going to do some trigger warnings about homophobia, sexual assault, mental health stuff, parent issues. I think that's it. The first one's called Holy Homophobia. How do I explain to you that I know I will be the reason for my father's death? That my disease is reason enough for his every frown? That every time he must punish me for my homosexuality, pretending I don't exist for weeks on end, is every time he punishes himself for reacting this way. His cells swimming in a cocktail of Johnny Walker with a splash of guilt. How do I explain to you that every step I take forward into living authentically is a reminder of every failure of his parenthood, that every time he is forced to endure the weight of my partner's name being said aloud is reason enough for his every contemptuous emotion, his disgust, a ball of phlegm stuck in his throat, ready to spit his hatred on our faces as if we were the prison guards that put him in the jail cell of his holy homophobia. How do I explain to you for sure that I know I will be the reason for my father's death? Because this blame cannot escape my sinful choices, that every irritation becomes a worry, that every worry becomes a rage, that every rage becomes a hatred, that every hatred becomes an insecurity, that every insecurity becomes a guilt, that every guilt becomes a powerlessness, that every powerlessness becomes a poor choice, that every poor choice becomes a headache, that every headache could become a stroke, a heart attack, that every episode could be his death. How do I explain to you that I must choose between my father's heart attack and my own suffocation? Just look at what you're doing to him, John. How could you do this to the family? So that quite possibly is the most painful poem I've ever written, and this is the first time I've shared it on a stage. And not to lie, it feels really healing and cathartic. I learned a couple of months ago that one should write from their scars and not their wounds, and I take that really seriously. My dad and I have a really good relationship right now. He's like on the terms with it and stuff, but that was a really dark place for me. Um, this next one has got like a nice sprinkle of anti-capitalism, and it's one of my favorites to do. It's called Cycles. The seasons of my year have shrunk into days. I feel the movements repeating the cycle so fast it is winter. A gush of wind moves over my chest, and I feel a wetness on my pillow. I move over to the other side that hides the glaring moonlight away from my eyes. I'm unaware, unfeeling. There are Mars bars wrappers piling on my nightstand. The sun comes out for the first time and I'm fighting with my eyelids. I know I'm supposed to blossom, but I don't have the energy. They say human beings don't crave sleep, they crave restfulness. But in between these cycles of sleep and awakening, I found myself falling in love with running away from my responsibilities. Flowers are beginning to grow, and I've never felt so alone in this existence. I don't see myself in other people's lives, even though we share the same cycles. Wake up in the morning, put on the tight clothes, stand in line to get some wake up juice, trade our lives for a living. The sun is out, shining as bright as can be, and I'm jealous. The source of all life on this planet is the kind of competition I'm up against. In this light, I'm visible, my vulnerability forming skin lesions on my neck and arms. In this light, I'm afraid, I'm terrified of being wrong. I'm fighting for some form of legitimacy. I want love and attention and respect and to be taken seriously. In this light, I am burnt out. But the fiery hallucination comes to a close. It rains, and I cry. And it rains, and I cry. I'm finally being flushed out from all the toxins that accumulate in my body's hiding spots. I'm too busy trying to be somebody else's savior because it is the best distraction from the tsunami happening inside the stone wall. The leaves fall, and I hope the same happens to the remnants of my old habits. Amongst the frigid cold, it is time to put a rest to my tumultuous day. I try to close my eyes, but even if I do, the endless list of things I need to do rings in my mind's ear. Over and over again, I remind myself that tomorrow I must do this and I must do that. And in the stew of the slowness of my brain, I rest, tired from the incessant repetition, cold because it is winter again, and I must do this and do that tomorrow again, all while living an entire year in a single day. Ooh, it's a lot of energy in that one. How are you all doing? Let's like take a little breather. So this is the turning point of my set. It's about finding myself in my body again instead of just living in my mind. That kind of happens when you go through something traumatic. You tend to dissociate. So this is about coming back into my body. I was way too excited to grow boobs when I was a little cherub, imagining little niblets of substance in my halter top. All I could dream of was when I could fill up those bikini tops like the girls in the movies and the magazine. Heterosexuality was shoved so deep down my throat, you'd think they were trying to fatten my liver. You see, I wanted to be hot. I wanted to be desired. I wanted to be a grown up woman. And then I found out they treat little girls much better than adult women. So, as my breast grew, my shoulders slumped, trying to hold on to every inch of innocence. I learned to do this when my dad told me to change my clothes because it looked too revealing. I learned to do this when my classmate yelled out how sweet my ass was after tormenting me. I learned to do this when the presence of my body alone led a man to violate my dignity, that only my availability could coerce him into assaulting me. In my first dance class, I learned that nothing is more important than to keep your brain upright. I learned to put my hands on my hips and call myself Wonder Woman. You see, the only other partner dance I knew before this was a guy's dick trying to be partners with my butt cheeks at the club. But you said, no, when we do this dance, we do it in an embrace. There is no space for Jesus. As my body internalized the symmetry of this dance, I had the space to give you the geometry of my heart. The seesaw of inhales and exhales shared between us in these three songs, but my brain, rewired for protection instead of connection, is nervous at first. I hear my heart beating along to the beat of the drum. It wanted to sing the song of life and of living, but my mind decided there was no space to be vulnerable. And so I am afraid, I am afraid, I am afraid, I am afraid. But the music keeps playing. And I am here with you in the song. I am not alone in a cloud of shame. I am not being tormented. I'm not weeping for some horrible sin I must have committed in a past life to deserve the punishments of being a woman. I am here with you in this song, and I am safe, and I am safe, and I am safe, and I am safe. I let you touch my chicken tenders, house of my fire alarms. You let me graze your lockbox, house of your silent suffocation. And in return, you feel my body up and strong like Wonder Woman because I finally feel like a woman. Not a punishment, not an object, not a threat. Because I am here with you in the song, and our hearts beat along to the drum together. They sing the song of life and of living together. I love that poem. It's called Chicken Tenders. I wrote it. It was kind of inspired by a workshop I did with RC Weslowski at CSFW. He told us to name little name little funny places in your body where your trauma lives. And I was like, yep, those are my chicken tenders. They're very, as Robin says, tender. So this is the part of my set where it takes an upturn and I finally find myself. All this poetry is very releasing. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for being here to watch me and to listen to my work. It really means a lot to me, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. The next one's called I Don't Judge. One of the biggest lies I have ever heard is, oh my God, don't worry, I don't judge. Well, you may be holding back your thoughts on behalf of my vulnerability in this situation, but when you say you don't judge, do you hold yourself to the same regard? Are you telling me that you don't police yourself thinking you are good or bad at any given moment tied to any given action? Are you telling me that you can be here with me now and just be here? I've learned that judgment is the root of all evil, but it doesn't have to only exist in the secrets kept in between you and me. It is our vision from the outside in, seasoned with what lies we have told ourselves that we must be pure or successful in order to be good. Where is the time for us to just be? When will we understand the good, the bad, the values are just illusions, creations of a human mind, like righteousness, like God? They say God created man in his image, but I think man created God in his image, the straight white man that we as a society still pray to because it is good and we want good. So we push away the bad, chastise the others because we think they are sinners, drown ourselves in shame because we are human. We are not gods, but we can be. There are so many gods Allah, Jesus, Krishna, Moses, Shiva, Buddha. Why can't I be one of them? If God wasn't a being, but rather a state of being, why can't I join them? Why must I be caught up in this judgment, the good, the bad, the lies, all the demise, all the lives we have taken too early, all the children we have slaughtered, all the pain we inflict upon ourselves, all the judgments that govern our actions just because we want to be good? If God is a state of being, I want to be God. I don't want to be good. I want to be unity. I want to be joy. I want to be love. I want to just be. I want to just be. I want to just be. Fuck the shit. The shit I'm out. Oh, that was a good one. So this is gonna be the last piece of my set, and this is some new shit, y'all. This is I finished writing this like a couple of days ago. I had to send in my transcript a little late because I was like, yo, I'm still finishing this. This is my heart and soul. And from all of the homophobia and like the not being yourself and pretending that you've heard recently, let me tell you, this is the first poem, the first love poem I have ever written with she her love, no, she her pronouns in it. And I love women. I love women. It's called Her Name is Samasta. So I'm seeing this girl, but I don't really mean seeing as much as I mean being in her presence. Her name is Samasta, and she leaves her stuff all over my apartment. All these sneaky droplets of our memories. The tiny book of Thich Nhat Hanh she read to me on a secret beach. The name of the baklava shop we went to on our first date. The rock she stole from the hot spring when I first saw her naked. Her name is Samasta, and she acts like we're going to die every night just before we go to sleep, just so that when I open my eyes the next day, I get to rejoice and taste the beating life on her lips. In the entanglement of our palms, we exchange our feelings, one squeeze at a time. Her name is Samasta, and she sends thunderbolts up my spine, soft velvet lips climbing up my back, disentangling my bundles of nerves one by one. She opens me up, not like a flower, but like an onion, peeling layer by layer off. And if I'm the onion, then she is the flower, her beauty, the first recognition of my innermost being, her sacred fragrance filling every pore of my spirit, her ethereal nature reminding me that this love is ephemeral. And because of this, she taught me to pay attention like I'm making it rain in the strip club, but also that I'm worth every drop of her awareness. Pain is Samasta, and she is the Ganges gushing down my face, crying tears of bliss, and I take a bit of her water with me everywhere I go, so I'm always blissful, no matter how things go. I open my mailbox to find soft kisses sent to my heart. She erases my wounds with the back of her pencil, rebirthing my story in the ocean where the salt can no longer sting the cuts and the burns, and I am with her, splashing against the waves. Her name is Samasta, and she makes me feel like I'm beyond myself. As long as she's with me, the most claustrophobic prisons feel like vast prairies. She unravels my inner labyrinth where my wounds play hide and seek. Ready or not, she says, here I come. She says, come into this darkness. We are safe here. For it is not only your darkness, it is mine too. She places her flower garland around my neck and says, welcome home, my love. She transforms this abyss into a warm hug and a cup of coffee. She has given me a ticket to her safe haven whenever life gets in my way, so I can relearn to focus, to resensitize, to fossilize the shell of myself, break out of it, and start anew. She who fills my life with movement, so many cycles of creation and destruction that I have become a master artist in the cocoon of her laugh. I have kept my love for her folded neatly. She maintains her love for me like a growing houseplant. She is the light radiating behind my eyes, the only light in this world of shadows and mirrors. She is not just the color of my life, she is the saturation filter of my very being, the pulse of joy moving through my spaghetti arms, every convulsion electrocuting my cells. Her name is Semesta, and I am her adherent. She makes me confuse madness with devotion. I am the popsicle she licks, melting every part of myself just so that I can become a part of her. I hold her feet close to my heart just so that I can be the very ground she steps on. Her name is Samasta, and the day that I die, I know I will disperse myself back into her. But so long as I am living, I vow to immerse myself in her because she is Samasta, and Samasta is the universe. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you want some more of my poetry, I'm going to be posting some more spoken word bits and maybe some tippity typies. It's at ic.gaze, at ic.gaze on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here, and on to you, Robin. Can't wait for all of you to come out next afternoon.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Icy Gaze. That was phenomenal. I adore you, and I love being your mom. Schmoozer and Jackson, these two very much enjoyed your set a lot. Let's read some comments you got going on. Thank you for sharing. So much love. We love anti-capitalism here. Love a good sprinkle of anti-capitalism. We all do. The power of your voice. Damn, this performance. Snap, snaps. Chicken tenders. Love some chicken tenders. Wow, mood. So many heart emojis. Yes, here for that queer love. And it's a good time. Such a beautiful love poem. Wow. We loved it. Jackson loved it. Schmoozer loved it. I loved it. You love it? Loved it? Loved it. Awesome, folks. Well, we still have two amazing features coming up, but we're going to take a short 10-minute break so y'all can stretch your legs and get a drink if you need to. But in the meantime, during our break, Jackson, don't escape my love. In the meantime, if you want to still buy a ticket, there is still plenty of time. We are donating at least 50% of our sales today to Black Trans Femmes in the Arts, which is a collective of Black trans women and non-binary femmes who are dedicated to creating a space for Black trans femmes in the arts. And there is still plenty of time for you to follow our wonderful poets on Instagram and in the socials, and check out if they have any chat books or anything cool coming on. And you can also join the Discord chat, be a part of the community of the tender comments. Jackson is reading all of them, and he loves it, and he wants to tell you all that you're all full of love and gentleness. And Schmoozer's just growling in the background. We will be back in 10 minutes with Kira the Muse and Namita. Bye, y'all. Hello, hello, hello. We are making our way back. This is Schmoozer. Schmoozer, say hello. Say hello, Schmoozer. Hello. This is my partner's old grandma dog, and honestly, yeah, we love her. Welcome back from the break. I hope you had a chance to stretch your legs, get some water, tell somebody you love them, hug a puppy, Schmoozer puppy. Awesome. So we're going to get started with our next phenomenal feature. Let me just get their bio out. Give it up for Kiran the Muse. Kiran Shokar is an artist forged in the cracks of Punjabi diaspora, whose writing and performances center around agency and self-determination in all factions of life. In exploring race, gender, and colonialism with raw humanity, Shokar's art largely focuses on empowerment and restoration of self. Shokar is an educator in Vancouver, on Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory, teaching the youth of today to be thinkers of tomorrow. Give it up for Kiran the Muse!
Hello, my name is Kiran Shoker. I am speaking today with Maza Collective. If you don't know what Maza Collective is, it's a group of South Asian poets who have come together to really consolidate our voices and start sharing. We're really excited to be presenting today and sharing our poetry on this virtual stage. I'm really excited for the poets that are sharing with me today. I don't even know if all of us are in Canada right now. Last time I spoke to Janam, she was in India, so we'll see what's happening. But yeah, today I'm really excited to have this opportunity to share the voice, especially in COVID times. So thank you so much for Voices of Today for coming through and putting this together. Much appreciation for supporting our voices. Today I have my cup of cha here with me that my mom made super fresh. But yeah, I'm excited. I am sharing from Calgary, Alberta today, and I just want to pause here and I really want to be thankful and grateful. Like most immigrant families, all immigrant families, I'm a settler and I come from a family of settlers, and I'm really grateful to be on Treaty 7 territory, which is the territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Tsuut'ina, Nakota, and Métis people. I think it's super important that immigrants really recognize, and families of immigrants recognize, that like we may have gone through strife, or we have our own struggles that we've come here with, but we have the privilege of being on this land. We need to recognize that and make our own changes within ourselves in that activism. So I'm really happy to be able to share today, and I recognize it is a privilege to have my voice heard. So yeah, let's continue to make changes in this world. I did introduce myself earlier before. In the process of growing and learning, I have always struggled with the concept of my name. My name has been heavily anglicized since I was a kid. I grew up in Southeast Calgary, which is super white. And I really grew up hating a lot of who I was. I hated my name. Well, I actually didn't hate my name. I did hate my name. My full name is Geranjit, and I hated it. It just sounded so heavy and hard to stumble through. And, you know, Karen was a better representation of what I wanted or imagined myself to be. And I hated everything. I hated how our words were so much harder and difficult to pronounce. I hated that kids used to make fun of how, my neighborhood would smell like curry because my parents were cooking. Or, I hated my Roman nose, and I hated my skin being darker. And most of all, I hated how hairy I was. So I've really tried to come through and break through a lot of that internalized hatred and racism for myself. And my name has always been a point of contention. So yeah, let's start it. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Geranjit Shokar. He says he was giving me a gift by letting me keep my last name, as if it was a privilege he could bequeath, as if he could conquer my tongue, set his throne behind my teeth, and guide my lips to pronounce his ego, as if it didn't really matter because once we were married, he'd own me anyhow. He says I should gift my children his name. He says gift with the weight that I owe him grace. so that he may feign gratitude. He says gift with the weight that I owe him selflessness. See, girls are only good when they sacrifice. But when is coercion ever selfless? Will my children have the name of a thief who takes their mother's grace for power, a charity for the rich man who will steal my last name and taunt me with his? So call me Gerenjit. My teachers ask, what does your name mean? Well, Geren means sunshine and Jeet means victory, but this English translation is too weak. It is sunshine as in the heat that causes air to quiver and the earth to burn, or the blinding gold that Hindus perform ablutions to in the Ganges, or the delicious warmth that is nectar from the stars. It is victory, as in glory that makes kings bow to paupers, the dignity of a steel bangle and a humble battle, the resilience of proliferation through strife, a name that has conquered oceans in centuries and been nursed in a womb. Yet, for having come such a long distance, English tongues are too tired to pronounce my name, to greet me with dignity. See, victory is only honorable when it's white. So call me Kieran. But now I shudder against the whitewash, lime and plaster crumbling as my name scrapes to escape, sputtering through my talcum tongue in the fear of my inability to relate. I'd starch my heart and bleach my brain, because how can such a cold place that forces colored folk to forget in order to belong accept my name? But now I bear on my tongue what my heart has always known, that the air around me aches with heat. I am liquid lambda of honey and gold. I am dignity and glory and resilience. Through humble battles and ancient scores, I am graceless, selfish, a rich woman. For when I am mother to my children, they will consume the ocean of my heart to know our name. I am the victory to life. I am Gerenjit Kaur Shokar. My name. So yeah, that's the first piece. It's a struggle. Maybe one day, I don't know what I will call myself in the future, or how long it will take for me to really get comfortable with introducing that. I do want to thank the people who have heard this poem before and really made an effort to try and say my name. I know it can be hard, especially for tongues that don't know how to pronounce these sounds. It can be really difficult and it can be daunting. So I really appreciate the people who are trying to make changes, and I think that's super important to really call in people and really like thank those who are trying to make changes, and also say loud enough for the people in the back. Okay, so the next thing, I introduced a very important person myself. The next people I'm going to introduce are the women that define me on a present and daily basis, the women in my family. I'm going to be reading from this book that happens to be my chapbook, Cardamom. Hit me up if you would like a copy. Shameless plug. I just want to read, just want to acknowledge some important peeps. The first are the Shoker girls. Only my soldier sisters, through tired arms and scarred hearts, will lift me broken and carry me to light. For when you cannot choose, you will embrace the fight. Shoker girls. My sisters and my sister-in-law are the most beautiful women that support me all the time, and I would be nowhere and nothing without them. So I'm very grateful for my best friend. This next person says she's my best friend. She's my niece. Yeah, this one is to Marin, and I guess Maeve, but she doesn't know words yet, so when she does, she'll know. She flings her little arms up at me. Bua! I'm so big now! Life was joy when being big meant I was so full with happy, not aching myself so small. So I rub my belly and I show my joy, feeling what full is like again. And I tell her, baby, I'm big too. Big girl. There's a couple more. I'm sharing one today that it kind of works better for me to read it off my computer. But the next one I'm going to read is about my mom. For those of you who have heard my poetry before, know that my mom is the shiznaps, and I think it's really important that I recognize how supportive she is. I know I come from a traditional Punjabi family, so I know that speaking out for women is really hard, and it's not an easy task. There's a lot of hurdles along the way in order for me to gain the agency, I guess, or I guess determination, I don't really know, to be able to speak out. Um, and I'm really grateful that my mom is in my corner and she really does support me despite, even if she doesn't like some of the things that I say, she will always be in my corner. And I really want to recognize her thing, her journey. I think it's really easy for young people in our generation, my generation, to kind of like cuss at the older generation and really uphold them to standards that weren't realistic for their time. And I just want to appreciate that my mom is the type of person who's worked through a lot of that to be who we need her to be. And our whole community really relies on the sacrifice of women. And this woman is an amazing person. So I just kind of want to acknowledge her. And I really think it's important that I acknowledge her in my sets because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. This one's for you, mama. Oh, right. Yeah. This is also a political one. This was written during Jagmeet Singh's during the election time and his campaigning period. He went during campaigning to Quebec, and some older gentleman, I don't know how gentle he was, decided to give him some really unasked for advice, telling Jagmeet that he should cut his hair and cut off his turban in order to look more Canadian. It really hurt me because growing up in the community that I did, I was the only Punjabi person and the only person who was Sikh. And Sikhism, keeping your hair is like the one of the tenets of the religion, and it's a huge tenet. And if to be told that you don't belong because of your hair, it just hit me right in the gut because that was my entire childhood. I constantly felt ostracized because I was hairy, and my parents were trying to raise me more traditional, so they didn't really want me doing a lot of hair removal. They kind of wanted me to be older before I made those types of choices. So I really resented that, and it made me hate a lot of who I am. So, you know what? This one's you old white man. An old white man preaches. In Rome you do as Romans do. Is that what Romans drawled as they beheaded unwilling Gauls? How could one know they woke in Rome when they went to bed Gallic? How could one know they were Roman until they felt the sentinel sword upon their neck? My mother keeps her shorn braid bundled with the nithnam, wrapped in a blue rumal like royal courage, long, thick memories braided and preserved, years of saron datel and fine-tooth combs, my masi, my nani, my manji. Her braid is safe between her wedding bangles and her birth certificates, coiled atop her holy hymns to remind her who she really is, that the stripped live wire still conducts electricity, tar bijli se. I wonder if the Gauls ever touched their trinkets at night, prayed to their gods, murmured, I love you, to their ancestors. As I find a photo of Stanley Park 84, my mom is a titili in a red salwar kameez, her chunni flirting petals behind her, and I think of when she cut her braid, and I wonder if she touches it at night, after ardas, praying that though she may look Roman and act as Romans do, that she is truly Sikh, despite the sentinel shears at the base of her neck. In India, you do as the British do. Is that what white soldiers screeched as they beheaded Sepoy Sikhs? How could one know they woke in the empire when they went to bed in Punjab? I wonder what drove mom to the sickle. She cut the live wire to the identity that she braided before bed, weaving generations of sacrifice. But when those same nimble fingers braided my thick hair, using the same mustard seed oil to smooth my unruly head, I whimpered and wailed, resented the hair that sprouted from my fingers and toes, upper lip and sideburn, straggly copper wiring that short circuited my identity. As my peers mocked my tangled forest, I resented my mother's live wires, praying to Roman gods, begging just to be like everyone else, just to be Canadian. And I wonder if I'd heard what soldiers said and saw the photos of kerosene heads, knew that white women pay for silky extensions, memories exploited from Indian women, would I have braided my bloodline at night, prayed to my Wahiguru with devotion, murmured I love you to Manji. I think of a young man, his bloodline braided atop his head, protected by a shroud of royal courage, a blue turban. I wonder how much he fought Roman gods as he asked, what in Canada do Canadians do? Because how could one know they were Canadian until they felt an old white man's blade upon their neck? Alas, jag meat, you should cut your turban off so you'll look like a Canadian. It hurts. That one definitely comes from a place of deep, deep betrayal. Um, Someone telling you what Canadian looks like. Yep. I actually went to go buy a baby book the other day, and it was like words for 500 words for Canadian kids, and it was like polar bear and zamboni. Like, I definitely was not saying zamboni as a 2-year-old. I don't know what I was probably saying. I was probably saying like, no mom, I don't want no more dod or some stuff, but I definitely wasn't saying zamboni. Anyways, um yeah, this last piece I'm really excited about. I did this for Vines, which is a festival in Vancouver, and it's really based around sharing art and literature around ecology and environmentalism. And I think I have a different, a lot of immigrants have an interesting perspective because like environmentalism isn't on the top of our list of concerns when it comes to immigrating and having this experience. And I think it's super important to recognize how we can really protect the place that we're in and really appreciate the place that we're in. So let's go for it. This one's more of like a sort of storytelling part, and it's a little bit different than what I normally do, but buckle up and let's talk about the Punjab. So, I was born and raised on Turtle Island, Treaty 6 territory since time immemorial. But my parents' memory of this land as settlers is far shorter than the horizon. They have stories of the first snowfalls and sunsets on this land. They came here as immigrants from Punjab with a fascination that I will never know, that of discovering gluttony and comforts far beyond comprehension. I suppose it's the same fascination I had while reading Harry Potter, the ability to fly, to summon gowns from rags, to create feasts of food from nothing, to live with constant access to excess. Yet, I grew up in the memory of back home, reservations of a life too good to be true, on the cusp of comfort, but never fully comfortable. Perhaps, if their children were too easy to forget hardship, we would forget the journey to greater places is arduous. Perhaps if we were gluttonous, life would present itself to collect its price, for all things have a cost. Harry Potter is a fantasy after all, a fleeting fascination. My parents' fascinations as immigrant was immediate, taunting, a monkey's paw with a finger beckoning. The first time I went back to Punjab as a child, I began to understand the origins of these mild discomforts. As if a living museum, I recognized remnants of a life far away and the tokens we kept beyond the fractures of migration. The washroom in my grandparents' house in the village was a place of learning. I learned where pinda came from, a strange word that's not quite bath, but not quite shower. In Canada, I'd learned to wash myself by scooping water from the water bucket. Squatted in the tub, I'd throw water on my back, shivering against the cold prairie air that seeped in through frosted windows. The hot splashes of water against my cooling skin in the icy tub was a giggling respite. And in finale, I'd pick up the bucket with my scrawny little arms, and in triumph to banish the cold, I'd drown myself in victory. So, in the bend, when my grandma heated only one big pot of water, sparingly I'd stretch that pot of water into all of my washing, proud that I could straddle over the fissure of diaspora to old knowledge. In the mornings, before the sun's heat could dissipate the fog, the shrill cry of peacocks would wake us, and the chill of the concrete walls would urge us out of bed. Clutching our cups of cha, I'd never had such creamy milk, sweet by its own rawness and boiled fresh. I'd spy the boy next door as he'd lead the cows from the paddock. His sister was shaping cow dung patties that would later dry in the saffron heat into husks used for fuel. Passing by was a scrawny man whose squawking cry and surprising strength far surpassed his frailness, as he'd sing out what vegetables were available that day for sale. I remember gajra and carrots were far sweeter and ready than the mild orange bitter tubers at home. Everything was eaten. There was no food to waste. We prepared what we ate, and what wasn't eaten was rolled into pronte for lunch. Punjab was a place of sweetness in its own, a river plains at the base of the Himalayas who held us in her bosom and fed us with the nurture and wrath of any parent. Coming home, Calgary did not feel different in its placement, at the base of the Rockies, river plains, and prairies that had fed this land's ancestors for time immemorial. I felt the power of old knowledge, but also the beckoning of excess. I could eat whatever, whenever. I could traipse naked in a warm house in winter. I could clothe myself with the whim of fashion magazines. I have never heard the groaning of earth, only seen the oil wells pumping like zombie horses, pawing hypnotized at the ground. I have driven past feedlots east of Siksika Nation whose smell of death and manure stung my eyes. My parents came here with some reservations, yes, but not all. When one goat would be cooked for an entire village wedding, my father now eats meat daily. When my mother would painstakingly embroider her own dresses, H&M is far too enticing. One bucket has turned into the luxury of a jacuzzi. In my father's village, I did not know that beyond the gray smog from burning plastic, the Himalayas keeps us within her view. Animals stay away from our river plains, hearkening the relentlessness of our greed. We let our mountain mothers nurture us, but we do not nurture her in return. We come as settlers to earth, and we are fascinated by gluttony and ease of access to excess. Like crumbs in bed, gormandizing has a price. The world is in the monkey's paw, and its fist is enclosing. Life has presented us to collect its price, and the humans of this earth must now pay. I began now to clutch at old knowledge more desperately, grasping at lessons of humility and discipline. I spin old knowledge into the context of now, finding comfort in resilience, in the hardness of character, that there is pride in not succumbing to Maya, for there is some place in our hearts. We know the rhythm of this earth because it is in our very organic nature. The earth is moving and groaning and beseeching us to our old knowledge. We must sustain this time immemorial. Thank you so much again, Voices of Today, and all of you listening in. It's been a pleasure to share these words, and I'm really happy and excited to be here today, virtually. Yeah, please follow Instagram, Kieran the Muse, and if you're interested in a chapbook, hit me up with your details, and I will send it in the mail, in the postals. Yeah, thank you for listening, and enjoy your time.
Give it up for Kieran the Muse. Oh my god, my heart is full. That's a friend of mine, and I love the pals. Lots of love in my heart for my homies. It's more likely than you think. Let's hear what some of y'all have to say about that wonderful, wonderful set. Oh man, being a young non-white kid in Calgary is a time. Yep. Kieran, my muse. Love the wordplay. Oh, the weight of gift. Your dupatta gives me life. Yo, that was fire though, not gonna lie. The assonance, that poetic beat. Love this poem. I remember seeing this at Undies this year, and it's so fire. So good. Storytelling is so lovely. Thank you for such a wonderful set. Thank you for being a lovely human. And my heart is so full. It's so wonderful seeing other Indian poets do the thing with the words, but Indian? Stop. Is this representation that we've always deserved? The answer is yes. The answer is more likely than you think. Awesome. We're going to get into our next feature of the night, who is also wonderful. But before, I want to just remind y'all, there is a Discord chat if you want to get in on the comments, if you want to have some community chit-chat time. Some of our artists are currently in the chat as well, saying some wonderful things. Also, it's not too late to buy a ticket if you still want to send some money to Black trans femmes in the arts. They're a collective of Black trans women and non-binary femmes who are dedicated to creating space for Black trans femme in the arts. The collective includes artists from all sectors of the arts, arts educators, arts administrators, arts activists, and arts curators. We organize performances and galleries that showcase the talents of Black trans femmes, host workshops and talks that provide Black trans femmes with the knowledge and skills to advance their artistry. My bad. At least 50% of all the money raised today, on today's day, for a festival will be donated to the Black trans femmes in the arts collective. And they're a wonderful organization, and you should. Awesome. So we're going to give it up for our next wonderful artist, Namita. She, her is a Tamil Canadian spoken word poet, artist, and writer who's entered the poetry community in 2017. She has been involved with Urban Legends Poetry Collective every year since her engagement with the Ottawa arts community and has made ULPC history as the first female and youngest director. Hell yeah! She's a two-time Canadian Festival of Spoken Word team member with Urban Legends Poetry Collective, and she published her first chapbook titled Dirty Laundry with Battle Axe Press in November of 2018. She's been involved as a performer and a workshop facilitator within the Ottawa community at spaces such as Tell 'em Girl, Youth Ottawa, the Artistic Mentorship Program, Carleton Art Collective, the Fembassy, Youth Services, and more. Give it up for your next artist, Namita!
Hi, my name is Amitha. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'll be doing a poem about the intersection of Hinduism and queerness. It might not be known that pre-colonialism, queerness was highly accepted in South Asia, and today's poem will be about that. You tell me God hates gays, and I say, bitch, which one? You must have me mistaken because I am as queer as my gods are. This polytheism is an orgy that does not end but reincarnates. I'm held by the sightings of a love that looks like mine that I've found with my own hands and in my own lovers. I learn of the Kuvagam festival, in which my people know the story of what it is like to sacrifice to experience love before death all too well. The Mahabharata tells us that Aravan, whose final wish as a soon-to-be sacrificed warrior was to die a married man, and Krishna transitions to Mohini to be wed to Aravan. When Aravan is sacrificed, Mohini grieves for her husband before transforming back to Krishna, and my trans sisters see themselves in their gods. They are shown their origin story birthed from the womb of a trans god. They are shown a story in which God herself tells them it is a trans woman who fulfills her God's wishes, that it is a trans woman that lets her God feel happiness before death. My Aravani sisters in this festival all marry Aravan, but must mourn him the next day like Mohini did. Adorn themselves in funeral clothing as white as their oppressors, they break bangles and pound chests to show how they grieve Aravan like Mohini did. I think this is God saying that even God is not good enough for a trans woman. Maybe she herself is more godly than them. My trans sisters are the protagonists of stories in which a trans woman is alive, is the hero, is the one who does not die. This is a story that does not sound like a transition turned trick. Shiva knows Mohini's true nature, that she is reincarnated into another body that is more affirming than the first one, that her transition is not all sexual but all holy. Shiva, attracted to Mohini, still spills his semen turned gold onto the rocks, and he knows this does not make him any less of a man. If anything, it makes him more man, more holy, more honest. We are shown transitions that do not ever end but reincarnate Ardhanarishvara, a body whose right half is male and left is female, is queer, is holy still. This Lord who is half woman still births acceptance, carries the union of these principles of all creation in their womb. Some say Ardhanarishvara is a symbol of Shiva's all-pervasive nature, and how is the god of destruction created visibilities for bodies that two feel like two halves instead of one whole, to be exactly what the world has not yet created space for. Shiva, god of destruction, destroys gender binaries by placing them in his own body. Hinduism does not keep a book to guide our manifestation of our religion, knows the power of oral that only the gods above can comprehend. The ones that exist are all queer in scripture. The Kama Sutra shows bodies not bound by heterosexuality, but by a love that is gay, both in happiness and in queerness. So when you tell me God hates gays, you must not be speaking about mine, about any of mine. You have let your own colonialist reading infiltrate the holiness of my gods. Why not let God themselves tell you about their holiness? That queerness cannot be beat out of a body if it is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, just like my gods. Thank you. Okay, this next poem is called Activism Love. Yeah. I learned in my social movements class that there is one personality trait that is often found among activists, that they are likely to be pessimistic about the leadership of others. Do not rely on others and instead take it upon themselves to change the world. I think this is why we fell for each other. Tired of being treated poorly by others, took it upon ourselves to love each other in the way we have known we have deserved our entire lives. Think I will not make the first move, but they leave their activism at the door before entering the home of my heart. I am making the first move. They teach me how to roll a joint and we smoke weed on their balcony. Let the grounded dried flowers and dried leaves and flower buds fall into the bend of the paper. I wonder if they wish to let their hand do the same to the small of my back. They do not realize I am asking for my eye. I am asking for this with my eyes. They let their tongue glide across the paper and fold the paper over, and I follow suit. They light my joint and I inhale. They do not realize that I am telling them that my ex too filled my lungs with smoke, that I too am pessimistic, that they will do the same. Even when they ask every time before touching me, even if they treat my body like a temple, they know they must always take their shoes off before entering, wash the soles of their feet every day, even if they prayed yesterday, even if they insist they haven't had to for other places of worship. I think they want to prove to me that despite those unwilling to lead by example, that they will stick around. I tell them I think they look good with a joint behind their ear. I don't tell them that I think this also means I think they tuck their emotions away all the same. I am pessimistic that I will ever break through, reach into the well of their love and be able to cup any water into my hands to drink. I look into the pools of their brown honey eyes, and I think that their irises are lined with a shark-infested moat. Each shark bears in its teeth the limb of a past lover, and I am doused in blood. We share the space. We share the space on this balcony with the puffs of smoke and the elephant in the room. That we are both souls aching to be loved. We let the cannabis do the talking. Let us dream beyond our trauma. That maybe we are what we have always been looking for. That we will not wait on others for this activism. But this love is a political act that we are willing to protest on behalf of. Okay, so a content warning for this poem is alcoholism and family trauma. My father, devout Hindu, sits at an AA meeting like he is the god these worshippers came here to pray to. Like he is better than them. Like he did not seek solace at the bottom of a bottle too. He stumbles in and falls on his knees, and I do not know if it is for prayer or for forgiveness, or whether there is at all a difference. My father finishes a bottle and hoses down his sins at the foot of the shrine of a god who is not my mother. All the liquid courage in the world, and he is still a coward. He gambles away my tuition and slurs that I am lucky to have him as a father, that I will never have one better than him, and this insult hurts me the most, that I will never have one better than him. He does not do the steps, does not ask for my forgiveness. Maybe he knows it is too late in the night to be coming home, too late in my life to ask for his fatherhood back. That I am a clock that strikes 2:50, all arms outstretched and waiting for him to come home. But maybe sitting on a stool at the bar, letting his apologies be washed away by the beer and looking up at the clock, he believes he is home. When my mother hears me use the crowbar I save in the back of my throat only to speak about my father, she says I am being dramatic. When I tell my mother of my pain, she rivals me with hers, recalls the story of how she lost her father at the age of 5. It is her way of telling me she only ever wants to give me what she did not have. She tells me she always wanted a father. I tell her, me too. She tells me she just wants the best for me. I tell her, me too. I remind her that when a stranger broke into our home, shattering the window in the middle of our door with his closed fist, it was her and I that muddled through the broken glass. I tell her cleaning up another man's mess is something that feels all too familiar, and she says I'm being dramatic. She says he is blood, and he is. And the crowbar in the back of her throat pries the nailed wooden crate, and it escapes. What she means to say. She means to say he is blood on her hands. I tell my mother that she is wrong, that I am blood on his hands, that all of Neptune's ocean could not wash the blood off his hands. I tell my mother that being a victim is not a sin, and she does not choose to hear me. I tell my mother a father is not the man who makes you question if you are worthy of love. He is the one that proves it to you. My father, devout Hindu, believes in a father more than I do. Okay, Sorry, quick outfit change, aka I can't keep my hair down and it needs to be up at all times. This next poem is called An Altar or an Apartment on Ossington Strip. I am at a service at which I do not know the churchgoers, which is to say, I am at a party at which I do not know anyone else. I am introduced by my friend's friend to her friends, and each handshake and introduction feels like an offering. Gabriel finds out I am from Ottawa and says he thinks Ottawa is cool, to which I laugh uncontrollably and gutturally, which is to say, he sings a hymn I have yet to hear. We sit perched by the window, and he tells me about his vivid dream about Ogre Shrek eating out human Fiona, and he imitates the sound of cunnilingus, and I tell him he could not say in fewer words that he is queer, and he laughs uncontrollably and gutturally, and I forget for a moment that we have just met. And I think that this is religion. I guess his sign accurately and immediately. I say Pisces, like it is his God-given name, and he says he knew I would get it right. I do not tell him it is as if my mouth formed the words before my mind had thought of it, and I think that this is religion. We sip on the blood of Christ, which is to say we let wine dribble down our throats, and he tells me about a Tinder match. He's American, he says. So I asked him if he had a school nurse, or if he had a cafeteria lunch every day, or if he played kickball at recess, and it is as if between the breaths I hear him orgasming with each further inquiry about the unfaltering American identity of this man, and I think that this too is religion, wanting so badly to see something you already know is there. Gabriel tells me he has a tarot app on his phone, and he reads me my past, present, and future cards. He pushes up his glasses at the bridge with the side of his pointer finger and tells me that tarot is just a reflection of your current situation, that he isn't a psychic, that he is guiding me to the lake of my life but will not force me to drink the water. He reads me my present card and says it is one of the best cards he has ever read, that in this moment I am flourishing, and all I can think about is how he lied when he said he wasn't a psychic. I tell him I think the cards he's reading are about poetry, that the last time I had my tarot read, I thought they were about poetry too, and he says that if it is at the forefront of my mind, then it must be. And I feel as though with each confession, I have stripped down to fewer and fewer pieces of clothing until I am stark naked in the middle of this apartment on Ossington Strip. It is poetry that I met Gabriel at the same day and at the same party I would have otherwise seen my abuser had he not visited his parents in BC this exact and otherwise ordinary weekend, and I cannot believe deeper into something that is bigger than myself in this exact moment. My mouth is a museum for my teeth the way they are on display. It is as if Gabriel is a priest or a churchgoer. Maybe he is a confession box and all I speak with my laughter. Maybe he is a reminder that there are good men out there, men that will not demand my body and give me trauma in return. Gabriel leaves the party and wraps his arms around me before he leaves. Behind him, on the coffee table, there are 9 red solo cups. 9 of cups. I know that this is religion. This next poem is a little spicy, and it's called Piano Fingers. Piano fingers, how I love the way you play me. The way your fingers touch all the right keys, sustained notes reverberate inside. The way you look up at me when you know you are sight reading a new piece and I am applauding with my open mouth. You are crafting a sonata when you play me and know which chord will make my back arch, which will leave me with a desert mouth praying for a rainfall to satisfy this dry season. You mad artist. You scratch at the page, crossing out old bars that no longer fit in this song and filling in empty bars with notes that sit right with a leaky pen, and I am not afraid to be covered in ink. You make a masterpiece of my body, and it is the instrument you know how to play best. This traveling show does not have an audience, but it is a full house. You bring me to the bathroom counter and keep the mirror facing you so you can practice your fingering for this new piece. See the reaction of the crowd in the reflection. See your own reaction in the reflection. You know the melody so well you begin to sing it as you play. You mouth the words with me. This duet has always been a duet. Even when we have been played by other hands, by other lovers, by other instruments. But now, with you, every night is opening night. But the song is always different. But the reaction is always the same. An encore. Okay, last poem. I think honestly, I've not written a lot of new shit. The first poem I performed was new, and this one I consider new, like post-pandemic or post the start of the pandemic. And I think that this poem was one of the first ones I wrote during the pandemic, and I think it meant a lot to me. So I hope that sharing it with you elicits similar emotions. It's called I Asked the Moon for a Sign, and I think she tells me not to kill myself. So content warning for suicide. I have state-sanctioned agoraphobia, and today I am applauded for my upstanding citizenry because of it. There is no need for a medal when I am weighed down by my suicidality. Instead, today I dress up for no one, not even myself. I wear high heels when I walk to the mailbox, and I let the heartbeat of these steps guide my breathing instead of the breathing machine in my chest, and today I do not kill myself. I paint myself in Fenty and do not let myself look in the mirror until I have washed my face clean, and tonight I do not kill myself. I buy myself a magic wand, and the only pressure I put on myself is to finish myself, and I think that this is healing. I sit out on my roof and do not let myself look off the edge of it. I let my partner know that I am taking out my headphones to listen to the silence of the suburbs, and I stare out at the moon. For once, I let this white woman tell me what to do. My tears cloud the night sky, and I want to ask her what the fuck is in retrograde, but I don't think I can afford the long distance call, so instead I listen. I listen to this astronomical body's stability in the night sky and the way she plays the starring role among stars. She is so full of herself, and she steals from me the memory of why to be so was ever an insult. I let her drink my tears and use them as rain for someone else's oppressors. I let myself feel the cold on this roof because I think it is better to let myself feel something at all, and I just want to hold the moon in my belly, be full of her too. But I think she is telling me to be full of myself instead. I remember that every other planet names its moons, and to us she is just the moon. I used to think this was a compliment, but maybe it is a disservice to her labor. The way she kneads the water's waves tirelessly, and we still do not gift her a name. Let the unpaid labor of this woman go without praise no longer. I want to name her after every woman that ever made sure I did not go hungry, fed me food, fed me knowledge, fed me perseverance for this life. This celestial body has given me life again, and how do I thank her but every night gazing at her glory on my roof? I ask the moon for a sign, and I think she tells me I am worthy of admiration too. That maybe there's a small girl looking up at me on stage the way I stare up at my celestial goddess. She says that it is a lie that there is a man on the moon, but the moon in all of us. She reminds us that our youthful selves were not foolish to think she followed us in our cars racing down the highway. She is always with us. And instead of wanting to join her in the sky or in the dirt when she leaves us for the other half of the world, I think I'll stay here, on this roof, in this body, a little while longer. Thank you.
Oh my god, give it up for Namita in the Discord chat. My heart is full of love and softness and so much good poetry, and I love my brown femmes with my chest, with my whole ass. I love these poets with my whole ass. Awesome. Let's see how some of y'all feel in the Discord chat. My whole heart, wow. Let us dream beyond our trauma. Oh, wow, this poem gives me shivers. So much love to you. I love this storytelling. This storytelling is so magical. In all caps, yes, piano fingers, ah, and then a gif of a little hedgehog running over piano keys. We love to see it. I'm constantly asking what's in retrograde. Me too. Love an astrology, babe. You nailed this set, Namita. Loved it. Thank you so much for filling my heart with that good poetry. I gotta say, loved all of the poets in this showcase, and unfortunately, that was all of the poets in the showcase. You made it to the end of the event. I know. I want more poetry too. And if you want more poetry, don't worry. Today's only day 4 of festival. Tomorrow is day 5. Let me pull up the calendar and I can tell you what's going on tomorrow in case you want more poetry. So tomorrow We have a workshop with another Maza artist, Q, who will be doing a workshop called Making the Old New. That's a poetry collage workshop at 12 p.m. EST, 12 p.m. EST, 9 a.m. PST, and 10 a.m. CST. And it's a different Q that's doing it. It's Q, yeah. Sorry. We have the solo show workshop, which is a poetry theater workshop hosted by Charlie Petch. Charlie Petch, who I adore and is so good, so good. That'll be happening at 1:45 EST, 10:45 PST, and 11:45 CST. We have an introduction to grant writing workshop with Nisha Patel, who is a Maza artist, at 4:30 PST. 4:30 EST. Time zones are so weird. I don't even know what the time is now for me, and you're telling me that there are multiple versions of time. I want to talk to the manager. At 4:30 EST, 1:30 PST, and 2:30 CST. And then we have finals, which will be happening at 6:15 EST, 3:15 PST, and 4:15 CST. And if you were like, wow, Robin, that was so much information, so many numbers, and I don't understand anything you're saying, don't worry. You can follow our Instagram, voices_of_today, or find us on Facebook, and you can get the full schedule and the breakdown of how to get tickets and how to get into the events there. And we're so excited for the rest of the festival. We have 2 more days, and it's going to be really exciting. But yeah, once again, I want to thank our wonderful feature artists, Franz, Icy Gaze, Kieran the Muse, and Namita, our wonderful open micer Hector. I want to thank all of our wonderful volunteers who help make festival possible, because we couldn't be doing this if people weren't here to be active listeners or to work the StreamYard stream. I have no idea how this thing works, but I'm talking at it, and I think people are watching. I don't know, but our wonderful volunteer humans are making all of that work. So I'd like to thank Zane, Chuck, Kit, Q, Kay, Noah, Oshin, and Billy for being absolutely wonderful. I want to thank our sponsors, because money for art? Wait, hold on. You're telling me you're going to give us money to do a youth poetry festival? Those are words I love to hear. So we'd like to thank the Ontario Arts Council, the Toronto Arts Council, Golden Brick Road Publishing, EcoJot, and Living Hyphen for their support on social media and with the prizes. Honestly, literally in the Discord, go off. I want to hear how much you love the sponsors, because they fuck with the vision. And when they fuck with the vision, we can put the vision online virtually in this festival format. So go off in the Discord chat for our lovely, lovely sponsors. If you still want to buy a ticket to this event, you still can. All the money goes to the Black Trans Femmes in the Arts Collective, which is a wonderful arts organization who are dedicated to creating space for Black Trans Femmes. And it's going to be wonderful. That is our show, unfortunately. But there's plenty more poetry to be had. Feel free to stick around in the Discord. Usually I end up shows being like, you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here, but you can stay here in the Discord if you want. I'm not gonna like come into the Discord and like fisticuffs, chat away, follow the artists on Instagram, buy their stuff. I've been Robin. I've been your host. I'm gonna go to bed now. Good night, everybody.